Hey man, welcome to the Super Divorce channel. If you think you're gonna like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up now. And if you're digging it here, go ahead and subscribe. Just make sure you bong the gong for notifications so you know when new videos go live. Now then, please look forward to this video. Enjoy, chefs. Hey man, welcome back to the Super Divorce channel. Nicholas Villars here, aka Super Divorce. I play music. I am creating a Proudly Comicsgate comic book, and today I'm going to be looking at what I consider a Proudly Comicsgate comic book. This is Kamen America, Volume 2, The Founding Fighters, not the Founding Fathers. This is the Founding Fighters. Brought to us by Timothy Lamb and Mark Pellegrini, just like the first book. Hopefully you've checked out the first one. If not, I did a video on the first one. A rundown, if you will, and some slight commentary. If you'd like to check that out, please do so. If you don't want to go and check that out, I'm going to give you a brief, very brief overview to get us up to speed before we head into book number 2. In book number 1, that's your origin, Carly, also known as Kamen America. She is hit by a meteor of some sort. She gains superpowers. She can control electricity. She can fly. She's a full-fledged super heroine. And she ends up going on a mission over to Topkekistan, fighting a kind of Soviet villain who she ends up friends with by the end of book 1. They end up bonding over the fact that they both like designing outfits. They both design their own costumes, and they're both super-powered heroines. And they end up seeing eye to eye. In book number 2, they're going to be friends, and they're teaming up. But before we get to the team-up days, we have to do like we did in book number 1. We have to go back in time a little bit. Book number 1 started with an 11 years prior flashback. Book number 2 starts with us going 4 years back in time to a high school dance. And we've got Carly here as just a regular teenage girl at her school dance. She's hanging out with Sigmund, or Siggy, as she affectionately refers to him. I'm still not sure if they are truly a couple or not, or if he's just kind of like what do they call him? A beta orbiter, just kind of orbits. I mean, they seem like they might be. I don't know. Maybe we'll get definitive answers later. But she's at the dance with him, and they're, oh no, we're not here together. We're here with a group. That kind of deal. Okay. One of her classmates named Sylvia shows up. Sylvia is wearing this stunning dress. She's got all eyes on her. Everyone's very impressed. And this bothers Carly because, well, Carly's designed all of these dresses for all of her classmates by hand. Come up with these custom designs. She has so many people there wearing her dresses, and she's sure, before Sylvia shows up, that one of her dresses is going to get one of these girls to be lauded as the best dressed at the prom, if it is a prom. School dance. We'll just say school dance to keep it generic and more accurate. But Sylvia ends up winning the damn best dressed category, further angering Carly. She can't believe it. Her friend Vicky is like, well, you know, Sylvia did get her dress from Paris. But Carly has a rough time squaring that with the fact that she put so much work into all these dresses, and she's got so many people there wearing her designs and her fashions, to not be recognized at all, to seemingly be ignored, really gets under her skin. And that's something that is going to be a theme in Volume 2. Even once we get into present times when she's fighting crime and she has superpowers. Looking for that external validation. So in present times, she has, like I said, teamed up with her Soviet friend, if you want to say that. At least she uses Soviet and Russian-themed names for her maneuvers and so forth. But she does express at one point in Volume 2 that she's not a Russian. She just thinks the terminology makes her attacks and so forth sound more intimidating. So that's why she uses them. But anyway, now this lady is known as Kamen Comet. You've got Kamen America and Kamen Comet. And they are teaming up. They're fighting monsters. They do a common combo. They call it electrical fire. Performing the electrical fire maneuver on this monster that they throw you right into the fight with once you get to present day. Combining their attacks, because Kamen America has the electricity at her fingertips, and Kamen Comet can control fire. So they're doing some team-up maneuvers. They take out this monster, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm leaving most of the fight sequences for you to examine on your own when you read this book for yourself. I don't want to show you all of it because there is quite a bit more of the action in this book compared to the first one. And so I would like to whet your whistles a little bit, but leave a lot of it for you to discover on your own. So you're nice and surprised, so you get to see it firsthand for the first time. All right? But they take out the monster. There's the mud from the first book. If you don't remember that, when they defeat monsters, there's this sort of muddy substance left over. And this has gotten all over people's vehicles, and people are shouting at Kamen America. As you can see, the theme has continued just quickly, where they're not really recognizing her for the work that she's put in. The only recognition she's getting is, hey, you got this shit all over my vehicle, broad, you dumb bimbo. Not very nice. By the way, we've got Bullseye in the background, as well as Starcucks. And I'm pretty sure that this is Triggly. Was that her name? Trigglypuff? That lady? I think that's Trigglypuff right there. I always like to look for these fun little knickknacks in the background. Now, this is Overlady of the Red Clay Vermilion Masquerade. And she is in cahoots with Carly's old manager, Lansky. They have this conversation here, sort of introducing you to this new supervillain, Vermilion Masquerade. She's up to things. She's providing the monsters somehow. She's behind the mud monsters. Not sure how she creates them, but she's the one doing it. And very, very menacing. And she shows up in person at the next big fight that Kamen America and Kamen Comet are taking care of. The next time one of these monsters appears, she actually shows up herself, and she's like, I'm the one responsible. I'm doing all this. You're not going to catch me, but I just want to let you know these are my art pieces. I'm the one behind it. You're not going to do shit about it. You can't. And then she gets away. They continue fighting. They get some help from another hero who burst on the scene out of nowhere. She just enters. She just enters with an attack and starts helping out. This is Kamen Ramen. And you'll find out in just a few minutes why she's called Kamen Ramen. But she's there. She controls water. She provides some assistance. And Sylvia shows back up. Remember Sylvia? Best dressed at the high school dance. She comes back into the picture during this big old monster fight. And she's actually now known as Kamen UN, in contrast to Kamen America. And she's being managed by Lansky, Kamen America's old manager, the guy who's also in cahoots working with Vermilion. And Sylvia steals the spotlight when she shows up. She takes, I will say, she takes the monster out. In one fell swoop, she takes the monster out. Then she's the hero of the day. She's interviewed. She provides just fantastic commentary here. The press asks, why the name Kamen UN? And she says, well, I believe in helping all the people of the world, not just those who share my nationality. Aha! And she says, after all, borders are just a social construct. You can't see them from space. And the truth of the matter is that we're all one race, the human race. So, Kamen UN, again, starkly contrasted with Kamen America, Kamen UN, with the UN colors representing the entire world, the woke heroine. And she shows up, and she's also not revealing any cleavage. There's no skin-tight suit on her. She's got this armor, very much in line and in step with the type of characters that the woke crowd would love to see, and that's who she's representing. However, she has no problem stealing the spotlight, and Carly recognizes this. She's like, this is really petty of you. You haven't changed at all, Sylvia. And Sylvia snaps back in typical Sylvia fashion. She's just like, do I know you? Do I know you? Of course she knows her, but she's just trying to make her feel like dirt, So after that's all done with, the whole gang, all the down to earth heroes. You've got Kamen America, Kamen Comet, and now Kamen Ramen hanging out back at the old clubhouse. And Kamen Ramen provides her backstory, and it's a cool little section of the book. It's several pages long, where you get just a brief origin story for Kamen Ramen, and you find out that her father was a big ramen tycoon. Owned the Kaneko-chan instant ramen empire. They had a really horrible mascot. She says this was like the worst mascot in Japan. She comes from Japan, by the way, in case you couldn't figure that out. They had a horrible mascot. You may say, luckily, she is hit by a meteor. She gains superpowers. She can control water. And so she controls water, and she is able to not only control the flow of it, but she can control the temperature. So she becomes Kamen Ramen, and they put her out in front of the ramen empire, and she begins doing these big performances where people will show up with their instant ramen cups, and she can just float the water out in front of them, drop it down, make it boil, and they've all got their ramen cups ready to go. And people go nuts for her. She's doing a fantastic job, but internally she's not fulfilled. Internally, she wants to be a scientist. That's her passion. She doesn't want to do this anymore. And her father knows it. And he tells her, you know what? Just go and follow your heart. Do whatever you want to do in life. That's what you need to do. You need to be happy. So she ends up seeing news of Kamen America on TV, and she thinks to herself, I can go and do that. That seems like a good way to use my powers. If I can't be a scientist right now because I failed these exams to get into school, then at least I can go and fight crime and I can do some good in the world. So she travels across the world, and she goes to meet Carly, and that's how they end up joining up. So there you go. And there's a little more to it, but I didn't want to show you too much because it's a cool segment, and I like the element of surprise. I like seeing things for the first time for yourself sometimes. Now, Carly, with all the things that are going on, being overlooked, Sylvia's back in the picture. She's got that to worry about. She's having a moment of a bit of crisis of faith, and she doesn't know what to do. Not crisis in her faith. She's going to the church because she has religious faith, but she's lacking faith in herself. So she goes to her local church, and she has a sit down, sitting there on the pew. She's got her rosary, her Bible, and she looks in her pocket. She's like, "Oh, I forgot. I stuck all this mail in my pocket." You know, sometimes you sit down, you have things in your pocket, they kind of crunch up. That's what she did. And she's like, "What is this?" She pulls this piece of mail out, and seems kind of shocked when she looks at it. She opens it up, and there's a letter inside informing her that someone from her past has passed away. I'm not going to tell you who that is. It's someone that we talked about in the previous video, though. So this person has passed away, and it's had an unexpected impact on her, and she begins crying. She's teary-eyed. She has a few moments, and then she looks at her phone and realizes she has missed a bunch of calls, a bunch of texts. The team's trying to get in touch with her, so she pulls herself together in a moment of resolution, and she gets back out on the battlefield and announces to the world that we now have the Kamen Corps. And this is a much better Kamen Corps than the one that is so prevalent in our schools, in my opinion. I would rather kids learn about this Kamen Corps than the Kamen Corps that's being pushed. You ever see some of that shit? Absolutely ridiculous. Anyhow, Kamen Corps is there to save the day. There to fight the big bad threat at the end of this book. And you've got your team ups, you've got some great attacks. This is a fantastic ending to this thing. Very action packed. Great attacks, great artwork, fantastic fun. And that's why I'm not going to show you too much of it as well. Keep saying that. But Sylvia shows up here, and they're actually working together in this ending fight. Sylvia is seemingly gobbled up by the monster that they are trying to take out. That's also trying to take them out. It's trying to take out the world. However, we get a brand new attack combining power and water. I thought this was clever. They do the common combo utility bill, you know, because your power and your water works, your power. Maybe you have Duke Energy, maybe you have something else, but they got the utility combo. That's fun. And so she's tossed, finds the weak spot on this monster, whatever that might be, and Sylvia is saved. You see the mud covering everything. That continues. Of course, when the press shows up, they're only concerned with Sylvia's well-being. They ignore Carly altogether, even though she is the one who landed the finishing blow on this monster. And you would think, well, she's going to be butthurt again. You know, she's not going to take this very well because she saved the day from the big, big bad guy at the very end, and she's still being glossed over and ignored. But no, she's okay with it now. It was that the reading of the letter in the church kind of gave her some perspective and made her, you know, sort of reorient herself, rethink things. Be like, you know what, maybe it's not so important how the crowd sees me. Maybe it's more important what I do, and that I continue paying attention to that message that my father gave me in book 1. Follow your heart. Be a good person. Do your damn job. Clean your damn room. All that kind of stuff. She's not so concerned with the fact that they're focused on Sylvia. She's concerned with the fact that we got the job done. I did what I came here to do. She's like, I don't even want to deal with the press right now anyway. I'd rather head home. You know. So her attitude has changed. She's learned her lesson, I think. As for Sylvia, she's taken to the hospital. Lansky shows up. He's not happy with the fact that she got so involved with this fight. He wanted her to kind of hang back. It's like, you're not supposed to be getting beat up out there. And tells her, we're not paying 1 cent of your hospital bills. And Sylvia apologizes to him because she's still stuck under his thumb. She hasn't gotten to the point that Carly reached very quickly in the first book. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I have a feeling that she's not going to hang around forever. That's my suspicion. So Lansky heads out in the epilogue of this issue. He's going back to his office, and he's kind of grumbling to himself. He's like, you know, I should be producing hip-hop albums. He should be hanging out with Timbaland. Shouldn't be hanging out with these amateurs, these small-timers, these wannabe heroes who can't even take directions. It's like, this world has got it so that I've got to work with freaks and monsters. And he enters his office, and Schultz isn't in there. His partner's not there, but this guy, maybe it's a guy, maybe it's a girl, and the cat are standing there. Only us freaks and monsters, this bad guy says. I'm assuming it's a bad guy. Classic bad guy look. And then another baddie. This is not the same person. I thought it was at first, but it's not. They're two different people. This lady holds him at gunpoint and says, I've heard that, you've been talking some horse shit about Kamen Comet. I don't like it. Don't like what you've been saying. And then the other one says that, I need you to take me to Vermilion Masquerade. And that's where this book ends. So whoever this bad guy is wants to be introduced to Vermilion Masquerade. Whoever his partner is right here doesn't like that he's been talking shit about Kamen Comet. And that's all I can tell you about those two. But that's it. Now, one complaint I had about book 1 was that there wasn't enough monster action. They showed you a few different monsters, but it was just like a panel, and that was it. But the fights left a bit to be desired. Not so in this one. Now, there weren't a million monsters featured, but there were 3 of them, and I thought each fight sequence was better than the one that came before it, which is a cool thing to do, in my opinion. You want to build as you're going through a book. So, it started with Arthropod Agent Dalton. This guy, that's the first guy they take on. And then there is the Feathered Fiend Snarecrow. This one really reminded me of like a Power Rangers villain. Really like this guy. That's a fun little fight they have. And then Busco Beast Oscar. This is the last villain in the book. I will spill the beans there. And he also has a second transformation. It's like a second form that he transforms into. And I won't show you that. You're going to have to read the book to find out what he looks like. But that last big fight sequence, that's who they're facing. They're taking on his regular form first, and then he transforms into something else. And you'll have to pick up the book to find that out. Or go elsewhere for a spoiler. But I'm trying to keep some mystery to it. So you're like, that looks really good, and I want to find out what all I missed. And you missed plenty. This is also a bit thicker than the first one. So, a bit more story to it as well. On top of those cool monsters, we have Sylvia, or Kamen UN. Fantastic design. Lady Vermilion. Vermilion Masquerade, is that her name? Kamen Ramen. Kamen Comet. Just some great and instantly recognizable characters here. Everyone has a very unique look. You know, it's sometimes unfortunate when you're reading a new comic or a manga for the first time and the characters kind of bleed together because their designs are too similar. Everyone here has their own very unique appearance and attitude. You get a different attitude from all these characters as well. So that's neat. And here's the back of the book. The shiny, what do you call this? Is this holographic? Would you say that's holographic? It's picking up some of that chroma. Uh-oh. But it's nice and shiny. I like it. Good presentation. My absurd nitpick here is that when I first opened the book, you see this right here? I don't know if you can tell. Well, it does this. You know, because the book and the binding was so stiff, I was really like nervous to open it when I first read it. It was so stiff, it felt like it was going to break. You know, I felt like the cover was going to snap, or that some of the pages were going to like fall out because I was going to rip the binding or something because it was so taut. You ever have that happen when you open a book? It's like you can hear it like crunching and crackling. Unlike some books where you know, it's nice and floppy. It's got a good flop to it, so you can open it up, you can go through the pages, and when you close it, everything just it just falls nicely back down. But the stock on these pages is of such a stock that it seems to affect the ability of the book to do that. At least the cover, anyway. That's an extreme, you know, absurd nitpick. But I just had to point that out because it went through my mind when I was reading it for the first time here. It made me nervous. I didn't want to break it. And then also, like I said, now you get this, where if you don't put something over top of it, it's going to do this goofy curl. I don't like that. I would prefer that not to happen. But in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing, you know. I enjoyed the heck out of this one. I thought it improved upon everything that the first one started off with. The story definitely, there was a lot more to it. I'm not exactly sure what the page count was compared to the first one. I couldn't tell you that. It seemed like there was a lot more advancement, though. And the characters introduced here were just much more fleshed out. As little time as we spent with them, I feel like I learned a lot. Especially about Kamen Ramen. She shows up out of nowhere, but then, you know, she gets several pages devoted to her backstory, which is a neat way to introduce the character, I think, with like a quick flashback right in the middle of the book. Not next time, you know, not in the epilogue. It was just like, let me tell you my story real quick. And then there you go. And then you're back in the present time. You can do that. You can do whatever you want to. So that's neat. Learn more about everybody. And you're left with some questions. Still wondering about the mud. How does that work? How is Vermilion Masquerade controlling this mud to make these monsters? Why do they turn into mud when they're exploded? How does that work? What's going on with this relationship between Carolee and Siggy, her beta orbiter? What's going on with that guy? What's his deal? Why is he always hanging out at her house, but you never see them engaging in any kind of PDA? What is this relationship? And And then, of course, the mysterious characters at the end who confront Lansky. The freaks. Who are they? What do they want? Maybe we'll find out more, I'm sure we will, in Volume 3. So, hopefully you don't mind that I went a little long, you know. Volume 1, I think the video was only about 13 minutes, so you have to excuse me, but I wanted to just speak freely and openly about this book as I naturally went through it. So, there you go. That's all I got for now. Definitely check it out, though. Worthy of a pickup. And until next time, everyone, take real good care. Keep listening to Super Divorce on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, wherever you like to stream your tunes. If you're a fan of bands like Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, New Order, you're going to love the latest album. You can check that out, stream it, and then when you fall in love with it, pick up a physical copy at superdivorceme.com. You can grab a CD, a cassette tape, or get yourself a vinyl record. I recommend you celebrate the entire catalog. Why not? Great for your collection. Helps me out too. And if you haven't done so, sub to the channel, bong the gong for notifications so you know when new videos go live. Leave a comment below if you have anything. Any comments on this or unrelated comments. You can say whatever you want to. Talk a little shit if you'd like. That's fine. Down below there. Like this video. Share it with your friends. Spread it around. Spread the love. Follow me on Twitter at SuperDivorce. On Instagram at SuperDivorceBand. And that's about it. Till next time, take real good care. Keep kicking ass. Love you lots. Lord willing, I'll be back very soon with another video for you to watch. Bye-bye.
Super Divorce. We gonna go viral with this one.